All right, today I have a 2008 Saturn Outlook, and the transmission is a 6070. So what's going on with this? The customer came recommended to me. He brought me the car, had a check engine light on. Wasn't really saying much about that, but he said as I drive the car, I have a display that comes on that says transmission over temp. So I do scan the car, and I have a P0218, which is transmission fluid over temp, and I have a P0713, which is basically means the same thing, transmission over temp or temperature sensor circuit high, something to that effect. So what I do is I put the scanner, I customize my data list, and I just put the ATF PID on the scan tool because they move better, they move more in real time when there's not too many on the list. So, and it's sitting there at an idle. The temperature is 199 degrees, so which is normal. These things can, 199, 210, 215, all that's fine. But it's funny, when I go down the side road here, I go about 2 or 3 blocks or so before I hit a stop sign. So as soon as I start driving, the temperature goes from 199 degrees to 240 to 260, 312 within a 3-block radius, and then the light comes on, transmission over temp. I come to a stop and it comes back down to 199 degrees. So as you know, with this 6070, the TCM, or they call it the TECM, the Transmission Electronic Hydraulic Control Module, is inside the unit, inside the transmission, mounted by the side, under the side cover where the valve body is. And you can't really check anything. There really are no wires to check. So the only thing I could really do is I had to leave the car overnight. I drove it around when it was cold. Seemed to be working okay. I let it run and drive probably for almost an hour to get the transmission to heat up. And as soon as it hits around the 195 mark, it starts going a little crazy. Not too much in the beginning. It was going from like 199, 212, 220, back down to 199, 200. And then, but as I drove it and let it heat up, and I actually filmed it already because I'm going to be swapping. I swapped out the computer and want to see if I can film the programming. As it got hotter and hotter, it got worse and worse with the way the temperature was being very erratic. So we're going to be, again, I swapped out the TECM, and now we're going to be doing a program. Couple of things I did check, just to, it's pretty obviously it's the TECM, but when you're dealing with over temp codes, one of the things that you want to check is to make sure the transmission is not over full. All right, I've seen, take for instance U660. I'm actually going to be doing a video on filling that transmission, because probably about half a dozen times I've had those cars come into me with the oil coming out of the vent. It does have over temp codes. And when we check to see, you check to see it's full from the bottom because there's a standpipe in the pan. So with the car running, you take it out. So I was up in the car, I had the car running, and I had the tech take the check plug out of the pan, and he took it out real quick and put it back in. He said, it's full. I says, well, now I came down and I says, well, take the plug out and leave it out. I want to see if we got a steady drip stream or what's going on. And sure enough, we did the car running, we took the plug out, and the thing was probably at least 4 quarts over full. So again, I've seen that many times and not filling the unit correctly, so I'm actually going to do a video on that. So check fluid level, make sure it's not over full. You also want to make sure, in my case, I can see what's going on. It's a computer problem. But if you do have a transmission over temp code, you do want to make sure the transmission is not running hot. So I have my infrared gun that, you know, when you're getting the message transmission over temp or whatever the case may be, I like to take that and you shoot the sump, maybe the pan or the bottom of the case, to see exactly how hot it is, because you'll start getting, when it probably hits about, I would say 270, 275, it may start producing codes. It may not start shifting correctly anymore, go into like a fail-safe strategy code mode. The Volkswagens with the O1Ms, it's a common issue for the cooler to get clogged that sits on top of the transmission. So when that thing hits about 290, it starts shifting funny, and because the transmission is way too hot. So you definitely want to make sure that the transmission is not getting hot, it's not over full. You know, just part of your diagnosis, check your cooler flow. Also with the Jeeps like the 06 Cherokees, they have problems with the computer. I've had those many times when it's saying it's running hot, but it's really not. So just make sure of your diagnosis before you go ahead and start changing parts. Again, fluid level is important, especially nowadays that there's no dipstick. So you want to make sure it's not overfull. Make sure the transmission actually is not running hot. Make sure your cooler flow is okay. All right, so the next shot you're going to get is of the codes, and then I take the car on a road test and show you how erratic the temperature is. And right now I'm going to set up for the programming. All right, so at this point we're going to be over at the car, and I'm going to have the laptop on. So I'll be back in a few minutes. All right, so here's a shot of the codes, P0218, and then we have a P0713. All right, so now I'm going to go to data, and I'm going to customize the list just to get the transmission temperature up there by itself, and then we're going to drive it and you're going to see what this is doing. Alright, so give me 1 second and I'll get set up for that. Alright, so I'm going to start driving the car, and you're going to see what happens to the temperature as we start moving. I'm going to go about 2 blocks before, look at it now already, I'm going to go about 2 blocks before I hit a stop sign. But let me stop here, 251, 242, look how erratic that is. Alright, now I'm going to drive again, just pulling out of the shop. So we definitely got something going on with this temp sensor. Alright, now I'm going to come to a stop sign after about 2 blocks. So the temperature went up almost 50 degrees. Hope you guys can see this. Look at that, 212. Alright, let's go again. Another couple of blocks before I hit the stop sign. And you have to be moving for some reason. Not sure why, but I tried power braking it, and the temperature does not move. As soon as you start driving, it starts going a little crazy. Okay. Drops. All right, we're going to turn around, head back. So we got another few blocks to go. And there's really nothing you can check, because everything is within the computer or the Techum itself. Really no wires or anything you can check. I had this car running in gear for probably about an hour to get this thing to heat up, and it finally started to act up. I was hoping this is coming out decent, you know, with the sunlight out and stuff. But next step is we got an okay to go ahead and install a new Techum in this, which I just got delivered to me, and then it's gonna have to be programmed, which I'm gonna do as well, so I'm hoping to film that too. Alright, pulling into the shop, come to a stop. Look at that, dropped about 50 degrees, and just like that. Alright, so the next step is I'm gonna be installing the Techum, and then I'm gonna be programming it with my laptop. Alright, so we'll be back to do that. Alright, so I got the laptop set up, and we're going to start the Service Programming System, or SPS. Alright, just got to go through this stuff real quick. Alright, we're going to hit run. Oh, let's get this back up. Okay, here we go. Alright, so this we're going to skip. Alright, so now they want to know the type of programmer that we have, or that we're using. I'm hoping this is coming out. Let me just get a little closer there. Okay, so we have the Universal Reprogrammer. I have that by Ease Diagnostic. Alright, and we're going to replace and reprogram. Alright, now it has some instructions there. Turn ignition off, verify battery's fully charged. I have my maintainer on it, so I'll hit next. Alright, and I actually have a Saturn. And this is a 2008. It's an Outlook, so it's not a car. So let's see what happens when we click on that. Okay, there's Outlook. Okay, now it's communicating. You can hear the chimes. Alright, I want to verify that that is the VIN number. Let me just verify that with paper. Okay, so that is the VIN. Alright, now what we want... Okay, so we want... I just want to show you something here. Let me just scroll down for a minute. Okay, so it's not in this one. Alright, sometimes you got to be careful which one you choose. When program, you got to go to ECM/TCM programming sequence. I just did a 2015 GMC Yukon, I believe, and they had transmission control module all by itself, but that was just to do the fast learn. That wasn't the programming. So we're going to do ECM/TCM programming sequence. Okay, normal. Okay, I'm going to have to look for the RPO code, so I'm going to just put you guys on hold for 1 second while I check. Alright, so this does not have the VPM RPO. All right, it is communicating. Oops. Okay, now we're gonna hit next. Alright, so we're going to go to the latest mainstream calibration set. The top one is that it's set for use in hot climates only. Use of this calibration in cold will cause hard starting. So we're going to go latest mainstream calibration set. Okay, so that's engine, transmission, operating system. Okay, we are going to hit next. Next. Okay. Now the program is going to start down here. We'll just wait for it to start, and all right, there we go. All right, so now I'm just going to pause it for 1 second or a few minutes, and I just want to take the camera off the tripod for 1 second. All right, about a quarter of the way done, and GM actually changed their programming, meaning you used to be able to buy 3 days for about $60, and you could do as many cars as you want. Now they changed it, and you got to pay $40 per VIN number, but you have access to that VIN number for 2 years instead of just 3 days. All right, so let me just put this back on the tripod. I'm going to pause it for 1 second. All right, there's my programmer. And if you can see the dot blinking rapidly, that is a good thing, because that means the program is accepting the program. All right, there's a shot of the dash. If you could see up there the park, there's no circle around the park yet, so once this is programmed, that'll have a circle around the park. All right, so let's see how this thing's doing over here. All right, so we got about 30 seconds left, and the programming will be done. Then you'll hear, again, when the program is finished, the chiming and the lights will pop on and stuff like that. All right, we got 10 seconds. So this, okay, it's going to be done. There we go. Okay, the lights just popped on. And now you can hear the chiming. All right, so actually that was loading the latest calibration into the engine computer. Now it's programming the transmission control module. So that's got to be about another 15 minutes or so. So I'm going to pause it again, because I got to go shut the lights off because the lights popped on. But we got about 10 minutes for this thing, so I'll be back in a few minutes. All right, about halfway through, and there is a time clock, you know, that runs, and it says we got about 3.5 minutes left, and this will take care of the transmission control module. All right, so let me just pause it again, and I'm going to put it back on when there's about 30 seconds left. So at the end, you'll hear the chiming, the lights will pop on again, and then there should be an option to clear DCTs. All right, 30 seconds left in the programming. About 2 seconds, then you'll hear everything, I'm hoping. Okay, lights just popped on. I have the little square around the P for park. All right, so everything looks good. So we'll hit OK. And now just going to hit clear DCTs, if any, and then that's it. So again, the 2008 Saturn Outlook with a 6T70. We had a very erratic transmission temperature, and it ended up being a bad TCM, or TECM as they call it. So we have a new one installed, and I just have to wait for the guys to get in because the side pan is still down. So I actually can't even drive this car yet until it gets put back together. But I don't need to start the car for the program, I just need to have the key on. And that's it. So I thank you guys for watching, have a great day, and we will see you next one.